Is there another high-end running back struggling with keeping the weight off? Who would you rather own in Dynasty, Keenan Allen or Des Bryant? And who won the tightest I Got 5 on It challenge yet? Plus, 2016 FFPC Dynasty 750 number 11 champion Mike Anderson drops by to talk about Martellus Bennett's new home, whether he plans on moving up in his rookie draft, and more. We've got a great show for you. Dave Gerzak is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your Season 5 finale of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour starts now.
Bunches and bunches, punches thrown into your frontlets, oodles and noodles, bang bullets that suckers noodles. Last album voodoo, prove that we fucking brutal. I'm talking crazy, half past the clock is cuckoo. You rappers doodle, baby, just basic boo-boo. I'm talking doodle, master.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. with your hosts, Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
We run a brand with a structure for number one commitment. It's all a joke between mom contractions and coffin fitted. So we disappear.
Thank you so much, Rob. Greetings and salutations, all you Balkaholics and Gerzakinatics. Welcome to the latest episode, the Season 5 finale of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. I'm your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman, and my co-host is indeed the patron saint of fantasy football, the Dizzle, David A. Gerzak. Coming up on tonight's show, what are the Bengals thinking for their 2017 backfield? Can Matt Forte be valuable for one more year? And we total up the I Got 5 on It for the 2016 season in our Season 5 finale right here. Exciting night, David. Is putting a bow on our 5th season. This is our 280th episode, if you can believe that. Pretty crazy to think that we've somehow slipped through the cracks 280 times to be on the air. But it's insane. And what's more insane is the I Got 5 on It's coming up tonight. Revisiting all these bets we made over the past year, how they turned out, and maybe some controversy.
What is that?
I don't know. Controversy is not the right word.
I'm going to crush. I crushed you again. I did great.
Nobody crushed anybody. This is a very tight race. There is some ambiguity, and we'll leave it at that. Shout out to the chat room right now. Feel free to. It is like politics. Feel free to post any questions you might have in there. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, at HSFF Hour, at Eric Balkman, at David Gerzak tonight. You can post on our Facebook page, facebook.com/HSFF Hour. If you want to chime in and talk with us, give us a call at 347-426-3682. That's 347-GAME-OVER. HighStakesFantasyFootball@gmail.com is the inbox that our mutual friend and producer Rob and our audio engineer Bryce are checking as we speak. Mike Anderson, the 750 number 11 co-champion, along with his co-manager, Adam Carlson. Mike will be on the show tonight. We're going to talk about the rookie draft. We're going to talk about how he has been able to win this league 2 out of the last 3 years, Dave. He's been in this league 4 years. Only finished below second once.
Good.
Pretty insane. Well, so, yes, we'll get some good insight from him tonight. Right away at the top of the show, I want to remind everybody that the main event early bird is going on right now. That will end at the end of May. So make sure that you are signing up for your main event team, whether you're drafting live at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas with us or drafting from the comfort of your own home online. You get $100 off that team, $200 off each additional team, and every entry that you pay in full or at least put a deposit on before that early bird, you will get your name in that Pros vs. Joes drawing, which we'll be covering live here in late July once again. Exciting stuff, so check that out. Online satellites, Dynasty Leagues, all available, myffpc.com as well. The High Stakes Lowdown came back. We had a great episode this week with Andy Shaw, of course, the $2,500 number 1 FFPC Dynasty champ, as well as co-champion of the main event last year, Nelson Sousa, both those guys on. Andy Shaw gave us some of the skinny and some of the trades he's been making in his high-stakes leagues, so you can get some insight on what you should be doing for your FFPC Dynasty leagues. And Nelson, we talked about these retirement rumors that had bubbled up on social media. Nelson gives a definitive answer to that as well. So check that out, rotoviz.com/podcast. I know the Dizzles already listened to it.
You know, I was talking to Rob the other day, actually, and I was asking him if the high stakes lowdown had. I was asking where the advertising checks were for these 1-minute spots, and he said he hasn't gotten any.
What are you talking about advertising?
Well, because you're advertising the show on my and your show.
Right. What I'm doing.
This show.
Right. So a lot of people listen to this. A lot of people listen to this show. They have no idea who you are. So they listen into me. So I just kind of like make sure that I keep them happy by mentioning the high stakes lowdown, and then. By the way, there's this high-stakes fantasy football hour that I do with this guy, David A. Gerzak.
You know what? Now I get it. Thanks.
So
Appreciate
I'm
it.
glad I could clear that up for you. Let's clear up some of the news and notes going around the NFL right now. Denver Broncos head coach Vance Joseph said running back C.J. Anderson may not be ready for OTAs after undergoing knee surgery this past October. He had it in October. He might not be ready for OTAs. This is a red flag, ladies and gentlemen. He said he has not been able
it's almost like a white flag.
To run for 4 months. Yeah, no kidding. He has not been able to run for 4 months. And I don't know if you saw this photo, Dave, but the Joe Mixon draft camp. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, this is up. And remember how I was trumpeting C.J. Anderson last year? He's going too late. Mm-hmm. You people need to be taking him earlier. And it worked out for the first game of the season. He was a train wreck after that. So I'm looking at this right now. Apparently, anytime I throw my support behind a running back, that support turns into bad body weight. Eddie Lacy got huge.
It's all stress eating.
Maybe that's what it is. Speaking of Eddie Lacy, did you head up to De Pere today for his garage sale that he was having?
No, I heard that he was having a garage sale.
This is a thing.
Tell us about this.
I didn't go up for it because, well, obviously I was working, and it started at 1 o'clock today, and I figured if you're not up there by like noon, all the good stuff is going to be gone. So I said, what's the point? But yeah, he's moving to Seattle, obviously, because he signed that contract with the Seahawks, and he put out that he was having a garage sale both this past afternoon, Friday, and then Saturday afternoon. He's continuing it. All proceeds being donated to charity, one of his favorite charities. So I don't think it's worth haggling with him over anything. But yeah, he's had the rummage sale going on today. I did not go to it, but this was a real thing.
Like I said to Aaron at our office, that he was sitting in his reinforced lawn chair. He had a koozie. He's having a few drinks, hanging out.
Yeah.
Probably had a couple Arby's sandwiches.
Yes, that's entirely possible.
The Grand Mac, not the Big Mac.
I wanted to try that, but I was like, it's the same thing. It's just more of it. So why do I need to try it?
Is it just an extra layer?
I don't know if it's an extra layer or 2 extra layers, or there's 2 extra patties. I'm not sure. There's 3 sizes of Big Mac because there's like a Mini Mac or a Mac Junior now as well.
We should sample one of these little road trips we do. Like when we go. By the way, are we announcing that we're going to Chicago for the NFL draft?
I think we can, possibly. So we're making an announcement of something that possibly could happen.
I guess we are doing. We haven't booked the hotel yet. We're going to NFL draft in Chicago, even though it's not
there.
Chicago.
Yeah.
We're just going to hang out down there.
We're going to gamble a little bit.
Yeah, Rivers Casino.
Have some nice meals, have some drinks, watch the draft.
So people can come hang out. If you want to hang out in Chicago, watch the draft at some local bar, go to Rivers Casino, lose some money. And I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be there. It'll be me, you, Two-Packer, and Premium User, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. And then Andrew Howard.
And Andrew Howard, well, he's not coming with us. He lives there. But
right.
Of course.
Maybe Jack Hahn. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, Jack Hahn's a possibility as well. Who knows?
No. Yeah. We're not coming to Philly. Sorry, Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Too far.
Not this year.
We checked the flight. We actually did look at the flights. They were just kind of like, with the flights and then the hotel, it was just like, we didn't want to spend like $1,000. I'd rather spend the $1,000 at the casino and spend like, $200 to drive down to Chicago and stay there.
Right. Moving on, there's Jimmy Wagner just posted in the chat room about Monte Ball. This news that came out.
Did you? Yeah, I saw that.
So I saw it. Now, far be it for me to ever say anything negative about the football guys.
Monte Ball is the one who admitted it, by the way.
I've never said anything negative on this show.
About the football guys?
Cecil Lammy.
No, you're always very complimentary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But I do need to say,
please,
listening to their show last night, and Sigmund Bloom brought up the Monte Ball thing.
For content for this show?
Right. Sigmund Bloom, yes, exactly. Sigmund Bloom brought up the Monte Ball story, that he's an alcoholic, would show up to practice drunk. And Cecil Lammy interrupted him and said, look, there's a lot of stuff that the three of us knew, and, there's just certain things you don't talk about. But we all knew Monte Ball was an alcoholic. And I wanted to say...
What?
Yeah.
You don't talk about it.
And I wanted to say, if you want to keep certain things private, that's fine. I don't remember any of you guys saying, whatever you do, don't draft Monte Ball. He's a ticking time bomb.
I don't want to talk about
for
why.
Reasons why I can't say why.
I'm just kind of down on it. Even like hinting I'm down on it.
Well, no, I mean, they did say that, like, we're not really, we don't see the talent here with Monte Ball or whatever. There was never any inference to anything off the field that was going on. Yeah. But apparently they knew it all along.
Balky's calling BS.
Just whatever. Cecil Lammy covered him in Denver.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's
I'm aware of what he does.
Extremely frustrating. What does he do there?
What is it that you
What do you do here? Anyway, moving on. I wasn't even going to bring that up tonight.
I enjoyed that. That was actually better than the stupid next story, probably.
It is definitely not dumber than the next story. Marshawn Lynch told the Raiders that he plans to unretire and play again. Seattle general manager John Schneider said if Lynch does come back to the NFL, it is with his understanding that he would only play with the Oakland Raiders. DeAndre Washington, Jalen Richard, both in the backfield there. Of course, the Raiders let Latavius Murray go to the Minnesota Vikings, so they do have a hole with that number one running back there, Dave. And you look at the offensive line there, and you can make the argument that Oakland already has the second best line in the NFL. What are you doing with Marshawn Lynch for redraft? I mean, obviously, if you own him in Dynasty, you're holding on to him. I don't know how high of a pick you would use on him in Dynasty. But what would you be doing with him in redraft for anybody who's drafting in the FFPC satellites that are going on right now?
Well, I would take a shot on him, but I wouldn't draft.
Sixth round? Would you take him before the 6th round?
I probably not yet.
So is he a double-digit round pick for you?
No, I mean more like 8th, 9th. 7th, 8th, 9th.
I'm just curious
because, I mean, he says he's going to do this, but I mean, he still has to do it. And then he could come back and then maybe not feel like it and then quit. He can come back and get hurt. I mean, the year off is a problem. You know what I mean? People keep assuming he's going to just come back and all of a sudden beat Marshawn Lynch. Well, then you just have him back promised to begin with.
Right. 11-10 is his ADP right now with FFPC.
It's probably been rated right.
These are drafts completed after April 1st.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, the closer we get to the season, the more fire that Lynch is going to have on him. So I got to believe that he is going to continue to rise. But 6th, 7th round for me. That's where I would be looking at him. I know you would not take him there. That is fine.
I said 6th, 7th round.
I thought you said lower than that.
7, 8, 9 is what I said. So maybe not the 6th.
All right. I am more likely to take him earlier than you.
Well, there you go.
All right.
You also like Eddie Lacy for a long time.
Oh, just throw that in my face.
Yeah, Balky. Had to give you one of those.
Mike Anderson, the 750 number 11 Dynasty champ, is coming up here in just the next couple of minutes. We're going to get to him in a second, but I do want to talk some other running back news before we get to him. Ian Rappaport, who's, as long as I'm ripping on people.
Yeah, you're kind of salty.
I don't know if you've paid attention to Ian Rappaport's tweets, but they're overwhelmingly positive about players. This guy is super psyched about this guy. This guy can't wait to and I'm almost wondering if he's just being fed this by agents or it seems like he's like a mouthpiece for.
I think maybe there's too many haters though. Isn't that good?
What do you mean?
ESPN shows everybody's complaining about life.
Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know if there's too many haters. You know what I think there's
too many hot takes.
I think the newest hot take, the hottest of hot take, is talking a lot about something but not really taking a stand on anything, which is also fine.
That's what you.
Because that drives clicks.
No offense.
Click.
That's what you do all show long.
That is totally not true. Absolutely not true. Right, I take stands all the time. Eddie Lacy took a stand on him. C.J. Anderson took a stand on him.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Good point.
Ian Rappaport reports that Adrian Peterson will visit the New Orleans Football Saints sometime next week. This will be the third team Peterson has visited, in addition to the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots. Seahawks, of course, went after Eddie Lacy, got him in tow. The Patriots have not done anything after Rex Burkhead, although they're rumored to be
Why would they need to?
Bringing a LeGarrette Blount back into the fold. So that's something to pay attention to there.
Patriots are all set with Burkhead.
Are the Saints all set with Mark Ingram and Daniel Lasco? Is Adrian Peterson a realistic fit here in the Drew Brees, Sean Payton offense?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think he's the best fit for them.
What do you think happens with Adrian Peterson? Does he play this year?
I think he'll play somewhere probably.
After, do you think he's one of these guys that signs a contract after week 1 where now the money's not guaranteed? I mean, that could be.
I would almost think even he hasn't had. I think he's going to sign somewhere. I mean, maybe after the draft. We'll see what the draft brings. Maybe some teams didn't get what they kind of wanted or what they were thinking they were going to get. It's a deep draft for running backs. So people are teams are like, okay, maybe we'll get this guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it falls a certain way. And then they realize Jamal Charles, he's still out there, right?
Yep.
Adrian Peterson's still out there. And, Lynch is going to probably go to the Raiders. So,
yeah.
But you have those two guys. They're still talents. I guess I'm really surprised Charles hasn't been signed. There must be something still wrong.
I think his knees are just shredded.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but, I mean, You haven't even heard about him making any visits at all.
He's just chilling.
Just chilling, indeed.
By the way, Fleener's another guy you made a stand on.
Oh yeah, Colby Fleener.
Yep.
See, this I need to take fewer stands.
Three guys.
I need to take fewer stands because every guy I take a stand on, it just falls on his face.
Speaking of that, how about your Florida State guy, Dalvin Cook? He's the next story.
Yeah.
You're take a stand on him, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Pre-draft visit today with the Cincinnati Bengals, according to ESPN's Catherine Terrell. The Bengals likely looking at a running back in the second round. Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon being mocked to them.
All right, can I interrupt this?
Dalvin Cook also there. Rex Burkhead went to New England. Jeremy Hill, the underwhelming Jeremy Hill, and Giovanni Bernard coming off the ACR are the two running backs in tow right now. No, you cannot interrupt me, but you can talk now.
So they're looking to draft a running back in the second round.
Yeah.
When did they draft Gio?
He was a second-round pick.
When did they draft Jeremy Hill? The year following.
Also a second-round pick.
What the hell? I mean, well, can't they figure out the running back situation and not waste premium picks all the time on running backs?
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is this?
Yeah. Apparently pretty hard.
Those teams that always draft like wide receivers in the first round all the time, and then they're perpetually drafting the top 10, top 15, and they suck. You know why? It's because you don't have any good linemen, offensive or defensive. You don't have any corners. You don't have any pass rushers. The rest of your team sucks because you're spending all your picks on running backs and receivers, and it's annoying for us fantasy players.
Oh, totally annoying, yeah.
Because the sucky teams are drafting all these good players.
Yeah.
How about you just leave them for some of the good organizations?
That know how to use them.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. There's my little hot take on that.
Or, though, maybe Jeremy Hill's just not that good. And it doesn't matter.
Own fault. They should suck. And then they let Burkhead go for $3 million to
Yeah.
the Patriots, who he's probably going to get 75 catches and be like, oh, Burkhead was really good. We should have kept him.
Yeah, totally.
No crap.
Hey, as long as we're going off on running backs and mention Joe Mixon's name a couple of times, here's another thing I find weird.
I don't plan to draft him.
You know what's weird, Dave, to me? So we all know about Joe Mixon's off-the-field thing. That's really the only thing that's keeping him from being a first-round pick.
Which, by the way, is arguably not even as bad as Dalvin Cook's history, his plethora of indiscretions.
That were not videotaped, if they even happened. So, pictures or it didn't happen, as the kids say.
I know, but it's a character. Anyway, in real life, it counts.
Yeah. Joe Mixon might not be a first-round pick because of that.
Well, he wasn't even in the combine.
Now, how do you sell? I don't understand this. We can't take Joe Mixon in the first round because of what he did to that young girl. Okay, well, what about in the second round? Well, we'd look at him there. What difference does it make what round you take him in? Like, take a stand on him, or you know what I mean? Like, either you're going to take him with what he did, or you're going to avoid him completely. I don't understand how, like, we wouldn't take him in the first round, but we would, second round, yeah, we'd probably look at him there.
I don't think that's how they're actually thinking, though. I think what they're thinking is that, okay, we think Mixon's worth the first round pick.
Right.
And we would definitely take him there.
Right.
But a bunch of these other teams have taken him off their board, so we think we can get him in the second round. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to try and risk it and see if we can get him in the second round, or maybe third round, or whatever.
If that's what you're saying,
that's what they're really doing.
Then you should be saying we would take him in the first round, and then actually take him in the first round.
Well, they're not going to tell you the truth.
Well, but clearly, just like us on this show, we never tell you the truth.
By the way, Mike's interview is already delayed, so you're going to have to.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of the truth, we're going to get to the truth right after this. You're going to have a bona fide, actual high-stakes Dynasty player who knows what he's talking about. 2 out of the 3 last championships in the 750 number 11 has been owned by this guy, Mike Anderson. He's coming up right here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. It is Dynasty season as we are less than 3 weeks away, or is it fewer than 3 weeks away, from the kickoff of the NFL Draft here on the HSFF Hour. Eric Balkman, Dave Gerzak. What?
Which is it?
I think it's less. Okay. I could be wrong. I think it's less.
You're better at the English.
I don't know. I'm just glad that none of my journalism professors are listening right now because they'd be really ticked off.
I stopped in 8th grade.
Anyway, we always like having these high stakes players come on, tell us what they've been doing, tell us how they've achieved their success. Tonight is no different. Let's bring him in. He's been playing for 10 years, started with the FFPC at its original launch. He's co-owned his 750 number 11 Dynasty team for 4 years with Adam Carlson. He won himself a main event entry, which he will be using this year. Says he looks forward to the live draft at Planet Hollywood in Vegas this year. No word if he's taking in the J-Lo concert as well. That's certainly a possibility. In Dynasty, he and his co-owner Adam Carlson have taken second, first, missed the playoffs 2 years ago, and then won the championship in the 750 number 11 so far. Coming off that second title in 3 years. Onto the show tonight. Please welcome in Mike Anderson. Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man.
Hey, very happy to be here. Excited for the conversation we're going to have here.
Jennifer Lopez, are you a fan?
Well, who isn't? I don't know if I'll take her in or not, but I probably wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, we've already.
I bet you'd take her in.
Yeah, totally. I've already sent her an email after she didn't respond to my text, and I said, hey, if you want to draft in the main event, we can set aside a team for you.
We should do a celebrity draft.
We should not do that.
Remember how WCOP did that? Was so successful.
Yeah, it was really great. They made a lot of money off that.
Yeah, those guys were smart.
Hey, Mike, let's talk about fantasy football here in a minute. But before we do, tell us what you do for a living.
I actually work in program management for a technology company where, I work a lot with their operations to improve how they run their company. And then I also do a lot with new product development to try to help add value to and improve our healthcare across the U.S.
I'll tell you this, Mike. And
I heard there was a problem with the healthcare.
Hold on, listen. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you this right now as a friend, okay? Now, I don't work in the industry, but everyone I've talked to about this, healthcare, it's a thing of the past. Nobody cares about it anymore. Not a big issue. And technology is also dying.
Solved.
Technology it's with renting videotapes and that whole industry. It's all, you need to find a way out. I want to tell you something. Don't tell anybody this. Compact discs, man. It's the wave of the future. This is the industry that you need to be getting into right now. Forget technology and healthcare.
I think it's back to the 8-tracks, actually. Let's get back
8-tracks,
to,
we're still a few.
Let's get back to the vinyl. That's where it's at,
listen, vinyl never left. But just ask any of the hipsters.
Or even worse, we should try that Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, Blog Talk Radio.
Start podcasting on Blog Talk Radio.
Jesus.
All
At Blog Talk Radio.
We still got one at my parents' house in the basement. We can still scratch it a little bit.
Nice.
I like it. I like it quite a bit.
I bet you J-Lo's DJ's going to scratch.
Yep.
All right. Real questions. Congratulations on the 750 number 11 title. As Balky has mentioned like 6 or 7 times, it's your second title in 3 years in this league. Tell us the secret of your success in that league, other than maybe having 4 or 5 stud players.
Well, you don't want to give up too many secrets, but to be honest, when we started 4 years ago, we were new to Dynasty. We had no idea what we were really doing. So we just, my co-owner and I, Adam, just tried to figure out a strategy. And, when we first got started, our first approach was really to trade up. And I think, and I can't really look back. I tried to look back. I can only go back to like the draft the year after. I haven't been able to see exactly where we finished. But I know we picked like 6 of the top 36, and then we had probably 4 or 5 rounds where we didn't even have a pick. So our goal was to try to get it like a stud QB, a couple running backs, a couple wide receivers, and tight end, and that was kind of the core of our team to get started. So that, I think, really helped us just kind of get off the ground. And then from that point, we just really focused on trying to, do some trades and fill in for depth and make sure that we are just solid at all positions. That was kind of our original approach. Since then, one thing that I look at is a lot of people try, kind of stay away from some of the older players. But you know what you're getting sometimes. You hope they got a little left in the tank, and, you kind of focus on those and hope that they can just be solid players for you. So, that's been kind of our approach overall. And I guess our record speaks for itself so far.
Mike, we got a question from the chat room already. This is from Aunt Jemima. He wants to know
By the way, hang on. Is Aunt Jemima in your league?
No.
No, okay,
All
perfect.
right, then go ahead
and
ask her.
You thought Aunt Jemima was trying to pull a fast one?
Yeah, he's a little bit of a jerk like
he's
that.
He's a shifty guy. He's a total shifty guy. So Aunt Jemima wants to know, Mike.
I'll know which ones are in my league when you ask a question. I know which ones are shifty and which ones aren't.
Okay, well, he wants to know. Now, obviously, you don't have the 101 rookie pick because you won the league last year. But if you had the 101 in the rookie draft, as of right now, who would your pick be if you had to make that decision today?
Man, that's a really tough one, and I'm pretty high on running backs typically because I think you can always pick up other positions a little easier. Obviously, Fournette is a guy that offers a lot. I heard you guys talking before I panned in here, and it's an interesting conversation when you come to Mixon because I think he's a legit stud player for years to come, but who's willing to take him? I will in Dynasty. As a GM, that's a little different story.
Well, I can tell you as a fantasy Dynasty owner, I think Dave would agree with me here. I would take Joe Mixon with the 112. At the 201, or excuse me, I wouldn't take him at the 112, but at the 201.
Pick, I thought.
Yeah, no, I am.
Quit your jokes.
All right.
Go to the top 4.
I would take him at the 104. I wouldn't take him at the 104, but I'd take him at the 201. All right, moving on, Mike. Let's talk about your dynasty philosophy because, and you touched on a little bit what you did in the startup draft. You acquired all these early picks, trying to get as much elite talent as you could, and sort of fill in the cracks after that. But when it comes to the rookie draft, you guys actually don't pick until the end of the 4th round this year. You only have 4 picks overall. Do you view the rookie picks as maybe a little bit overrated by the other owners in your league, given the success that you had without these rookie picks?
We kind of have a win-now philosophy in some regards. And, trading away some picks has helped us to get some proven players. And that was kind of our stance that we took this year. And that's why we're at the 4th round because we're, going into last year, struggling a little bit, but still kind of on the edge of making the playoffs. And at the time, we needed to make a big splash to make a run at it. So we traded away a lot to nab I think we got Jonathan Stewart and Jordy Nelson out of it, and really Nelson is the key that helped us win it this last year. So we knew we were giving up a lot, and we view that we have a strong team going into next year. But man, we look at some of these other young teams and what they have and what they're building. We are definitely nervous about being able to sustain where we're at, and there's some young teams out there that look like they could win for a lot of years. So. It's one of those things. We were just kind of in the win-now philosophy. Long term, it may bite us. We don't know yet. It's one of those things that, we'd love to have some high draft picks coming up, but sometimes it's a crapshoot, too, in that draft.
Yeah, you're never guaranteed to get a guy that is not going to bust. And certainly if you're going to tell me that maybe the future wouldn't look so bright over the next 2 or 3 years, but you're going to tell me that I had 2 titles and a second-place finish in this league, I might be willing to make that trade and have that success and take my chances going forward. Dave?
Yeah, it's kind of playing with house money as it is.
Yeah, totally.
So Dynasty Cutdown Day, which I always enjoy because then I'm forced to cut, 25 rosters.
You get to be fantasy GM for all these.
Yeah,
other
25 lazy bastards don't cut their rosters down, so I have to cut them down. Anyway, did you have any tough decisions on that, or did you have to part with any guys you really didn't want to let go? And even, especially since your first pick is until the 4th round, maybe your roster is a little bit deeper, and you're like, oh man, I got to get rid of these guys when I really don't want to.
I think out of all the years so far, this was probably our easiest year because we actually did a few trades kind of leading up to it to give us some depth and give us kind of what we were looking for to go into next season. I would say Zach Miller, I know he's older, he was hurt. We've always struggled kind of on the tight end position, so, he was a little tougher to give up, but, we did a couple trades to give us a little depth on the tight end, and you'll see with one of your questions coming up here, we're very happy where one of our tight ends landed. So, it made our decision a little easier being able to get rid of Miller with some of that depth. To be honest, it was our easiest year. I talked to Adam today, and he's like, yeah, we had some guys that we had in depth last year that literally are retiring or may not ever play again hardly. So it was probably the easiest year we had, I think, just because of the depth that we had on our team. It wasn't as deep as some others. Like, we'd look at teams that had 8 guys to cut. Well, that's a tough decision because you got a lot of young guys trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do. It was pretty easy for us this year. We've had it tough previous years, but not too bad this year.
Good to hear, Mike. Well, of course, we're talking with Mike Anderson, the 750 number 11 Dynasty co-champion, along with his co-manager, Adam Carlson, winning this league 2 out of the last 3 years. Let's talk about a specific trade that you guys actually made. You swapped out the 702 in this year's rookie draft for Jets running back Matt Forte. Give us your thoughts on why you guys did that deal and what you're expecting from Forte this upcoming season.
You know, you look at the 7th pick in the rookie draft, and, you know, it's even more of a crapshoot than any of the other picks for the most part. Forte was on a team that they had to drop a lot of guys, and they had a lot of young guys that are probably more worth keeping than a Forte. He's a guy that on the Jets, splitting carries, you know, with Powell at best. We just thought it would give us some depth at running back to fill in for some bye weeks. We don't expect a whole lot out of him. He's actually one of the guys that when we loaded up to start our Dynasty team that we took and did wondrous for us. You know, we traded him then for Langford. That was probably our worst trade we've made in our career last year. Forte started out good. Langford sucked. Howard came in, took the spot. You know, we got him back for a 7th-round pick that, to be honest, I don't think Forte would have been there at that pick. So it was worth a shot. Whether he's got anything left in the tank, we'll see, but gives us a little bit of depth, just maybe for some bye weeks, and guy catches the ball, so I guess we'll kind of see. So, you know, we don't expect a ton out of him, but maybe he'll surprise us.
I love that analysis. I'm actually thinking of making a bunch of lowball offers for Forte in leagues where
it's just guys like that, you know?
Yeah.
Don't want to be a bag holder? I'll be the bag holder.
Yeah, exactly.
Forte.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean,
starting running back, right?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like, in my league, you go to, like, the 4th round. But, I mean, who cares? The 4th round doesn't matter.
Right. And you look at that Jets team. Now, there's the report that came out this week that they might move Decker. They've already lost Marshall. I mean, what weapons are they going to have on that team? It's going to be Forte and Powell, and, you know, maybe they'll put Sheldon Richardson at tight end. I don't know what's going to happen.
Unless
but
they cut Forte.
They definitely could do that as well. Let's talk about a guy who probably will not be cut in Green Bay, at least not this year. Dave, go ahead.
All right, Mike. One of the reasons you won the league last year was Martellus Bennett. Thankfully, Gronk was hurt, so he helped you out a little bit there. But were you glad to see him land in Green Bay from a fantasy perspective?
How can you not? I mean, let's be honest. Look at the guy throwing the rocks there. You know, I'm from Minnesota. I'm not a Green Bay fan. But when it comes to fantasy, that's different. So Rodgers is unfortunately, for the Vikings, probably the best quarterback out there, you know, all around right now. And, you know, they have a lot of weapons, but they can't cover them all. Bennett's in a great spot where they're going to throw the ball a lot. You know, they keep talking about wanting to have a better run-pass ratio. Is that really going to happen with Rodgers? I find it hard to believe. You know, Bennett's sitting there. He's going to be their top tight end. He's in a position now where he's not going to be blocking. In New England, half the games he'd block, and the other half he'd actually be out there catching the ball. So, you know, while he helped us last year, I think he's got a lot better opportunity in Green Bay. I think Rodgers will use him. And I think here's what the kicker is. Today, did you guys see the report of Rodgers and his girlfriend split up? So we're hoping
I heard that he was
actually we're hoping Bennett can move in with Rodgers, and they'll be even that closer to hook up even more.
Actually, I've heard that Rodgers was hooking up with Joe Buck already.
Yeah, that was a funny tweet. Did you also see it? I think it was the Chicago Tribune.
Joe Buck, because I can't stand Joe Buck. I'm sorry. Going back to the Randy Moss mooning days, Joe Buck.
Oh yeah.
He's on my list.
Yeah, you listen. You will do not have to apologize for not liking Joe Buck on this show.
And surprisingly, Rodgers shaved his beard today.
You know, I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you saw this, and I think it was the Chicago Tribune that they've already deleted the tweet. But the Chicago Tribune came out with a tweet that said, "Actress Olivia Munn, boyfriend split up." You know, like,
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because it's obviously Bears country or whatever. And they didn't mention they deleted it.
Why did they delete that? That's
I don't know.
Funny.
I thought it was funny. I mean, like, you know,
who gets mad about that?
I wouldn't. I'm sure Rodgers had a chuckle if you even knew about that.
Oh, absolutely.
We have Mike Anderson, the 750. the 750 number 11 Dynasty champion on the show tonight. We have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this year's rookie class, talk about Mike's thoughts on it. Dave Gerzak, Eric Balkman, HSFF Hour on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour rolls on here. I am Eric Balkman. He is Dave Gerzak. We are joined by the FFPC 750 number 11 Dynasty champion, Mike Anderson, on the show tonight. Let's talk about the rookie class here, Mike. Obviously, you guys do not have an early pick in the first round because you are the champions of this league. How much have you and Adam Carlson, your co-owner, how much have you guys scouted this year's rookie class? And is there anyone that you can see yourselves moving back up into maybe the first or second round to acquire?
You know what? That's one of the things that I love about Dynasty is, you know, you work on it year-round, but this is kind of a nice little break time for us. You know, you really pay attention to kind of some of the rookies in the combine and what comes out of that, and, you know, who's getting touted, who's kind of showing disappointment, all those good things. But I'll be honest, I mean, Adam and I, over the years, we never really spend a whole lot of time right now. We really kind of gear up for when the actual NFL draft happens. And once that happens, then we kind of get back on the page of, all right, who actually landed on what team and what does that mean? Because I'll be honest, I can look at a guy and go, man, I'd love to have him. And then he gets on a team that, you know, there's already two guys ahead of him. You know, you're going to have to sit on him for maybe a year or two. You know, we don't scout too much, I guess, this time of the year. We really focus on, you know, once the draft happens, then you kind of do a little crunch time and for a couple of weeks there before the draft starts or before our picks come up to really try to focus on, all right, who landed where and what might be kind of the sleeper at that point. So I really don't have anybody that I can say I'd trade up for right now because it really comes down to where they end up.
You know, and actually, I like the way you guys do this. Because, first of all, it lets you live a normal life. Like, you know, you can hang out, go see a movie. You're not watching Draft Breakdown, all this stupid crap.
Go out and buy Jennifer Lopez's new album.
Yeah, you're not reading, you know, 1,500-page draft analysis type documents. It's fine. And you know why? The most correlated thing for all of the success in fantasy sports.
This sounds pretty scientific.
And I couldn't get the sentence out, Bucky. I'm sorry. I told you I wasn't a journalist.
No, I can't wait to hear the end.
The best correlation is draft position. So all you do is you wait for the draft. You're like, oh, hey, that guy went fourth. Oh, shit, I'll take him first. Yeah, it's not that hard, right? You know,
right, yeah.
Oh, Ezekiel Elliott went fourth. I guess I'll take Ezekiel Elliott. You know, that's what Joe Del Gennaro would do if he was drafted.
Right, yeah.
So there you go.
Of course, Baker Boy, longtime friend of the show.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. So a guy goes to the combine, and he just crushes it. Just has a great combine, and everyone's just drooling over him. Then you go to his pro day, and the guy sucks. Well, what does that mean? Or vice versa. He doesn't do any of the running, you know, during the combine, or, you know, he only does certain things, and then all of a sudden his pro day, he crushes it. Well, who's actually taking the time there compared to the combine? You know, it's kind of it's funny watching that because it is what it is. It's kind of a media thing. How do you want to tout somebody? How do you not? So until they actually get drafted, it's hard to really judge them and figure out how high you are on somebody.
Now, there's plenty of people who will disagree with you, but that's what I don't mind that approach at all, actually.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, especially...
It's not as much fun if you're, like, totally into the draft.
Well,
process.
no, but, I mean, like, okay, so let's say if you own one Dynasty team, maybe you want to baby it and you know, just dissect everything to death on it. But if you want to own...
Team.
If you
want,
team. Yeah, I'm not a single Dynasty team owner anymore. But you have... maybe several FFPC Dynasty teams. Maybe you want to buy some more FFPC Dynasty teams at myffpc.com.
Oh, God.
It makes it easier to just kind of keep it simple, stupid, and take it that low management approach to it. Sometimes it works. Clearly it's working for you.
All right, Mike.
It has so far. I honestly think you can overthink things, and that's kind of our approach. It's like, you know, we can sit here and analyze and go back and forth and, you know, like you kind of said, I think it was Dave, going time you can go back and forth and overanalyze it. Well, and then one move happens, one day happens, and everything changes. It's like, well, now we got to rethink our whole approach. Well, let's just wait until it actually makes sense and the rubber hits the road.
So speaking of the rubber hitting the road, Balky and I made a trade.
Yeah. Now don't poison his mind.
In Carrington with these two players.
Right.
I'm going to read the question verbatim, so I'm not going to.
Perfect.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
All right, just read the question verbatim. Don't add any sort of
the correct side
analysis.
here, Mike. All right, you own Des Bryant in this league right now. If you had the opportunity to get younger, would you deal him straight up for Keenan Allen? That was fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
Okay, first of all, guys, I got to laugh really hard at this question because I appreciate the research that you guys did with us. Did you realize that we had Keenan Allen to start last year?
I did not realize that.
Nice job, Rob. We don't look back a year. Look back.
Hey,
sometimes we do.
I got to call you out on that one. Hey, you guys did awesome research because you nailed a lot of these questions, but we started out the year with Keenan Allen. Obviously, first week he goes down. And then I think it was, who do we have? Tight end, Benjamin. And he went down, so he was on the IR. Well, we had a team in the league that obviously had a young team, wasn't doing so well. So we made a trade of Keenan Allen and Benjamin, both guys off our IR to get, I think it was Michael Floyd and Jeremy Hill. Well, if you look at that trade, it doesn't look like the greatest. But then we actually traded both Floyd and Hill away. That actually helped us, throughout the year. So when I look at this question, straight up right now, the way everything's happened with Allen over the last 2 years, I don't think I would make this trade. I love to get younger. Allen, I thought, could have been a top 5 wide receiver after being hurt last year again. Watching what happened in San Diego with some wide receivers stepping up. Granted, Gates has one probably hurrah left in him, but Hunter Henry being a stud now, coming up. And look at what Melvin Gordon did. Is Keenan Allen, can he be a top even 10 anymore? I really question that. So I honestly think I would keep Dez because, Elliott is taking a lot of the attention. Dez, I think, can be a top 10 receiver for the next few years. So I still think it would be a tough decision overall because Allen does have potential, but injuries and everything that's happened over the last year in San Diego, I think we're pretty comfortable keeping Dez.
So once again, 750 number 11 champion, Mike Anderson, the guy who's won this league 2 out of the last 3 years, says he would rather have Des Bryant than Keenan Allen.
So you'd rather have the guy who's
here we go.
The number 39 wide receiver in 2016 and the number 78 wide receiver in 2015. I get it. It's cool. He's improving.
All right, whatever. Listen, Mike, you and I are of one mind here.
Let's. Dez is going to be a top 10 receiver, I believe, this next year. Everything's changed there. We'll see, I guess, but
we will see.
I still like that. I'm just having fun.
Let's get to. I have
absolutely.
a tweet actually. I have a tweet directed for you on Twitter. This is from @SWAPilot57. Of course, Sean Bosley, FFPC player. He writes, Dynasty question for tonight: Mike Evans or the 101 and Lamar Miller or Isaiah Crowell? Okay, so here's the question: which side would you rather have in this deal, Mike? Would you rather get Mike Evans? Or would you rather have the 101 this year and Lamar Miller, or instead of Lamar Miller, Isaiah Crowell? I'm assuming you'd rather have Lamar Miller. So Mike Evans or the 101 and Lamar Miller?
I think it's pretty easy for me, Mike Evans. I think he's a long-term stud. I think he's a top 5 receiver. The problem with the 101 is I'm not convinced that you have an Ezekiel Elliott this year that can go at that top pick. However, we have Lamar Miller and we have Crowell, so we're pretty high on them. Miller was a little bit of a disappointment last year. We look at Crowell as kind of a pretty big-time sleeper on our team this year. We've had a lot of interest in him. Granted, some decent opportunities to trade him that we weren't willing to do, and we've had some people trying to steal him from us. So I think with that question, I'd definitely stick with Evans.
Okay, so he also writes this little addendum to it. Now, if you're sticking with Evans, what about if he sent you the 101, Lamar Miller, and the 106? Would you still rather have Evans, or would you rather have the 101, the 106, and Lamar Miller?
I think I'd still stick with Evans. I know what I have, guaranteed.
Yes.
Miller.
I would also rather have Evans.
A little tricky. I think Miller's a little tricky, and like I said, the first and sixth pick. I look back at last year's draft. Elliott was Elliott. Other than that, I just don't know if there's a clear-cut number one this year that can do an Elliott thing. So I feel like Evans.
And the thing is, I agree with you, actually. And I don't – the 101 pick, it sounds like, there's not an Elliott this year.
Right.
We don't even know – there was a chance in the last year that Elliott would have busted. Todd Gurley looked fantastic coming into 2016, and he sucked last year. What's Todd Gurley going to do in 2017? He may be great, maybe not. Maybe it's the team. We really don't know 100%. Their career is not written. It's an unfinished book.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mike Evans, his career is also unfinished. But he's had no personality, no problems with the law or anything like that.
His book is much higher on the bestseller list right now.
Absolutely. And he's got Jameis Winston. He's a great young quarterback. He's talented. He's been great his entire career. So Evans he has a trajectory that could end up being a Hall of Fame player. It's possible.
It is definitely possible. Mike, Rob is telling me that I have time to read you an email here. This is from John in Manhattan. He writes, "Hey, Mike, not sure if you own Devontae Parker anywhere, but if you did, would you be willing to sell him for less than market value right now? I'm worried his worth may even go down further by the end of the 2017 season. Thanks." That is John in Manhattan. Thank you for the email, John. What about it? I don't know, Mike, if you own Devontae Parker anywhere, but is he a guy that you might actually be willing to part with for a little bit less than his value right now, just so you
what is his value right now?
It's certainly not what it was when he was drafted. I'll tell you that.
Answer mine. I was asking the same thing.
So what would you be willing to give up Parker for right now if you owned him?
I have a number.
Let me ask a question. Did Stills resign in Miami?
Yep.
He indeed did, for a lot of money too.
Okay. Right. So that definitely hurts Parker overall right there. So he's got upside, but you got Landry and Stills there yet. So man, I don't know. It's kind of one of those you want to try to swap him for somebody kind of maybe equal if you needed to fill a hole. I just don't have a ton of confidence in Parker altogether. So maybe if I had a hole and needed some depth somewhere else, I could let him go for a little less than maybe he might be predicted as value. It's kind of a tough one with him.
Dave, you posted in the chat the 208. I would rather have Devontae Parker. If I would give up the 208 for Devontae Parker right now.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
That's
It's interesting.
Once you get to the draft.
Yeah, if there's a 208 on the line, I'd keep Parker, yeah.
But that's what I would be willing to. I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't like Parker.
Okay, I know you don't. I know that's fine.
I own him in a couple leagues actually.
Have you been trying to shop him?
Not really, but
okay.
I'm just kind of lazy.
All right. Speaking of shopping him, in the Blake Harrington Dynasty League, Freaks of the Industry just put him on the block tonight, which I thought was interesting. So I might research this a little bit. Of course, you want to talk about the endowment effect. That guy is the worst for overvaluing his own assets.
Absolutely.
All right, Dave. One final question for Mike before we let him go.
Here it is, Mike. Very important. We need you to give us a rookie that you think will be a dynasty bust, and probably a highly valued one, please. And another rookie that you think will end up having big value as a second or third round dynasty rookie pick. It's great because you don't have these picks, so you can just give us your actual opinion.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I think any quarterback in this class, I'd stay away from. If anybody grabs Watson, I think he's got a lot of hype coming up, but I just don't see him being. I see him being a bust overall. When it comes to somebody that might go a second, third round, I'm high on Mixon. I think Mixon actually would probably go in the first round if anybody's smart, depending on what GM takes them. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I really don't have much faith in any quarterbacks this year.
I don't have any faith in any quarterbacks any year. I'll tell you that right now. But that's me.
Except for the new Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. The newly single Aaron Rodgers. Can't wait for that 6,000-yard season. Mike, listen, it has been a pleasure having you on tonight. I appreciate you making some time for us on your weekend. I wish you the best of luck in the 750 number 11, trying to repeat with all those young up-and-coming teams. Fight them off. Go for your third title in that league. Best of luck to you in 2017. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. Adam sends his best wishes that he could have joined, and we look forward to the main event draft in Vegas this year, and looking forward to hopefully meeting you guys down there and having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you at the J-Lo concert.
Yeah, are you coming to the Thursday party?
I don't think we're going to be down there till the weekend. Actually, Saturday. We're on the Saturday draft, so unfortunately,
we'll be around.
We'll be there.
We'll be chilling out. Plus, you can come on the show when you win the 250,000.
Right, exactly.
I almost said 300,000.
There you
Yeah,
go. We'll
do that.
meet you and have a beer with you. So.
All right, that sounds great, Mike. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. That is Mike Anderson, the 750 number 11 Dynasty champ from this past year. You know, Alex is going to freak out with that Freudian slip that you just made.
You know, I'm looking at this show break. It's going to take us 21 minutes, the show thing, 21 minutes to figure out these bets.
You have no idea what is about to happen. So
Alex he doesn't listen to this.
So normally you want to, you know, a lot of you just tune out after this because now it's just me and Dave answering a few emails and just kind of just hanging out,
this is
doing
good
whatever.
Stuff, actually, usually.
Yeah, the interview is the meat and potatoes. That's the best part of the show. Let me tell you what, this is the best dessert you're ever going to have with the I Got 5 on it tonight.
This is the creme brulee and the key lime pie.
I feel
combined.
like I might be overselling it a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to be a lot of fun. We total up the I Got 5 on it here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Eric Balkman, Dave Gerzak, final show break. We're coming right back after this on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. The HSFF Hour rolls on here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network, and you know what time it is. It is time to total up all of our wagers here. Eric Balkman, Dave Gerzak, HSFF Hour. It is time.
You should get buffer on.
We made 26 wagers this past year. Was a lot of wagers. Now, as you know, setting this up for the listeners.
That's one every other week. I'm going to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
One every other week.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm on vacation like 10 weeks out of the year.
Right. Well,
like when Jay Leno at the very end. I'm like Jay Leno at the end.
Did he go on vacation a lot?
He was never around.
I didn't realize that.
Or Johnny Carson, too, at the very end. It would always be Jay Leno.
Well, Carson, I thought, God, he was like 90 years old when he was doing that at the end.
Well,
he needed all
smoking cigarettes. He's got cancer, whatever he's got going on.
Yeah. So this is our 5th season finale of the show tonight.
Okay.
The first 2 years, you won the I Got 5 on it. The next 2 years, I won the I Got 5 on it. So it's tied. Yeah. So it's tied 2-2, and this is like the go-ahead season. Whoever wins this season.
So I've been missing out lately.
The last couple of years, you're on a bit of a cold streak. All right. Without further ado, let's kick things off here.
I always feel like I'm getting a red face because I'm embarrassed by how bad some of these bets are.
Well, trust me, I think I have more to be embarrassed about. March 25th, 2016. Trent Richardson makes it to the final round of cuts for any team. I said yes. You said no. You, of course, were correct.
T-Rich.
Those Alabama running backs, I had to stop putting my faith in them. As much as I rip on them on the show, and then I still make stupid bets like this. So really ridiculous.
Henry Muto and I were of like mind.
Yeah. April 8th, 2016. Who will have more 2016 FFPC points? I said Todd Gurley, and I spotted you 20 points.
All right.
You chose David Johnson. Plus 20.
He had 400 points.
Todd Gurley had 188.5 points, and David Johnson clocked in at 406.4. So just missed that by a whisker. It's really unfortunate there. Frickin' Gurley. You know, the problem is I bet on, like, all these guys I own in Dynasty, and then I just say, they're going to have a great year. I got a 5 on it.
All right.
May 6th, 2016.
I'm actually writing these. I'm check marking these.
Right. May 6th, 2016. Jacksonville Defense and Special Teams finishes as a top 15 defense under Football Outsiders metrics. Finishing 16th is a push. Okay? That was the agreement.
All right.
I said they would finish as a top 15 defense. Remember, I was touting their defense.
Yeah.
Dante Fowler and Jalen Ramsey.
I remember that, yeah.
And you said, obviously, no, they would not. They finished 13th.
Oh, really?
I knew that was going to be a tough one for you to lose. So that one I
annoying.
Okay, so fresh off that win, let's embarrass me a little bit.
Nice job, though, on that one.
May 12th, 2016. Laquan Treadwell finishes as a top 30 wide receiver.
Oh, that's money in the bank.
I, of course, said yes. Dave, of course, said no. You want to take a guess at where Treadwell finished among receivers last year?
184th? What?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? How did you know that?
I didn't know.
184th.
I've not read. Is it on the show thing?
No. It's unbelievable. So now I can't make any wagers anymore because clearly you're thinking on a much higher plane. How would you even guess that?
I mean, what's one of the crappiest receiver numbers you could make?
Unbelievable. Dave, the Matrix, Gerzak. I'm
dialed into Treadwell.
Holy cats. I don't even want to do the rest of the show anymore. I'm a little freaked out. Okay, so clearly I lost that one. Yeah. All right. Okay, so on that same night, May 12th, 2016,
3-1 now.
Who will have more fantasy points in 2016? Mm-hmm. You gave me Paul Perkins plus 30.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know you're not feeling good about that.
You have Jennings?
You had Kenyon Drake minus 30. Now, without the point spread, this actually would have been interesting. Paul Perkins came on at the end of the year. He finished with 66.6. Yikes. And then Kenyon Drake, 66.6, 666.
So that's how many he had?
Yeah. And
no offense, why are people jerking off to Paul Perkins?
Because they all came at the end of the year.
Can we say that on the Fantasy Sports Network?
You just did. Kenyon Drake finished with 42.5, so I won that one.
66. Big whoop. Wow, he's so great.
Yeah. Well, again, when the majority what if he just played weeks 15 and 16? Now we
still have that bet, by the way, of the Giants taking running back.
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Now I know why it's 6 on because I interrupt all your talking.
Well, no, there's just a lot of stuff to get to. May 27th, 2016. Ryan Tannehill finishes as a top 10 quarterback in 2016. I said yes. Dave said no.
Oh, cool.
So you won that one. Sweet. You want to take a guess what he finished? Rain Man? as John Terry called you?
22nd.
25th. So apparently you're dialed into Treadwell to the hill. Tannehill.
Can't be expected to get them all right.
Way off, yeah.
Way off, that's 3.
Now this one I actually felt great about, and then I didn't. June 2nd, who will have more FFPC points, Kevin White or Corey Coleman? I obviously said Kevin White, you said Corey Coleman. Now, I felt great about this because...
Yeah, you were ripping on me.
Because Corey Coleman broke his hand, and then Kevin White got hurt, right away after that. Kevin White finishes 38.6 points, Corey Coleman 83.4. Congrats on that.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah. July 8th, who will have more points on their Scott Fishbowl team for the year?
Oh.
I have to...
Moving on.
Big shout-out to Matt Schauf on this one. I had 2,574.8. You had 1,794.34.
He was so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. He had some injuries.
I had Bortles.
So I won that one.
Yeah,
July 22nd. More 2016 fantasy points. Remember, we were arguing over which Dolphins running back was the one to own, and I kept talking about my boy, Jay Ajayi. Going to be great this year. You said Arian Foster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What time of year was that?
July 22nd.
All right.
Jay Ajayi.
That's a big mistake.
206.4 points. Arian Foster, 19.3. So I won that one.
DOA.
July 29th. Will the 2016 Football Guys Players Championship sell out? I said no. You said yes. And you were right. And it totally did sell out. What a sellout contest. So you won that one. Then we got
6-4 is the current total.
July 31st. This is 9 days later. This is in the thick of Pros versus Joes, and I think we just were a little burned out, and we got into another Ajayi Foster conversation. I wanted to double down on that bet.
Come on.
And so we doubled down on it, and so I won that one too.
This is like betting my daughter and stuff, like some of this stuff where I just give it up.
Yeah. August 12th. More fantasy points on the season. I said T.J. Heldon. You said Chris Ivory. We are arguing the Jags running backs.
I don't even know the answer.
Ivory finished at 100.5. T.J. Heldon, 139.7.
So you won that?
So Bulky takes the Jags bet home. Of course, our annual bet, August 26th, who will have more KFFFC auction points. Team Bulky Kurt finished with 2,266.1. Team Dizzle Leroy, 1,855.7. So I won that one.
What was it again?
The score?
Yeah.
2266.1 to 1855.7.
In all fairness to Leroy and myself, I got a little drunk and then I stopped doing stuff about a little bit later, and then I got the math wrong too.
In all fairness, I was upset that Kurt...
It's totally Leroy's fault.
And
he let me get a little drunk.
And I'll say that's true, but I also say I was upset Kurt overbid on David Johnson, and we would not have been anywhere without that. So.
Dang it, I'm now down 7-6.
Speaking of doubling down on bets, here's one that we made after Corey Coleman got hurt. We doubled down on the Kevin White Corey Coleman bet. Awesome. So you, of course, won that one. Congratulations on that. That's
pretty fun. That's pretty funny that I won that one considering he was hurt. So, okay.
September 23rd. said that same night. We must have been in a betting mood. I didn't understand why you ever made this bet. To me, this is like the lock of the year for me. You said Dexter McCluster would average 12 fantasy points per game from week 3 forward and for the rest of the year. This is after he got signed by San Diego, I think it was. I said no.
To replace Woodhead, right?
You, of course, said yes. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to take a guess at what he did average per game from week 3 forward? You said it'd be 12 or more.
1.4?
1.8. So you're pretty dialed in on that, too. Oh, man.
Good God, man. Moving on.
September 30th. This is the last bet we made in September. Who will have more week 4 fantasy points? I honestly don't know how we got onto this, but
as usual.
You gave me 1 point in Terrence West. And then you took the point, or you got, how does this work? I got one point in Terrence West. You gave away 1 point with Jamal Charles. Okay. So basically,
whatever.
So Jamal Charles had 0.7 points that week, and Terrence West had 17.3.
What the hell?
So I just crushed it. Terrence West, baby.
What was Jamal Charles doing?
I don't know.
Maybe that's when he got hurt.
Icing his knees, probably.
Yeah. Oh, he was just sucking it up that way.
I always like these. October 7th, we made a wager. This was while we were drinking at the Stone Toad.
I'm down 2 now.
Yeah. How did this? I'm trying to read the abbreviation here. Okay. Oh, I know what it was. We were talking about Randall Cobb, and we were talking about. I was like, oh, he hasn't really been, or he's been pretty bad this year. You're like, whatever, he hasn't been that bad. And then
I remember this actually.
So then we wagered without either one of us checking how many points he actually had at that point.
Yeah, how many points he had at the season.
So I said it was less than 33. You said it was more than 33. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it was 26.4. So that was another win for me.
God.
Yeah. Well, things are about to get brighter for you, my friend, so don't worry. November 11th, we wagered who would have more fantasy points in Week 10. I had Sammy Coates +5. You had Eli Rogers -5. Mm-hmm. Eli Rogers had 14.2 points that week.
Oh, I got it. Sammy
Coates, of course, played 2 snaps that week.
Good.
So you won that one.
All right, great.
By the way, 0 points. Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Not doubling down, but going right back to the Steelers was next week, November 18th. More Week 11 fantasy points. I said Ladarius Green, and you gave me 5 points. You had Vance McDonald, -5. Vance McDonald, 15.1. Not bad. Ladarius Green had 2 targets that week. He didn't score. So that was another win for you. December 2nd, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here.
Kudos to keeping track of all this.
Yes.
You should get an extra bet just for
I attribute a lot of this to Rob. Okay, December 2nd. Okay, I'm trying to read this here. Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower both score more than 15 points in Week 13. I said no, you said yes, but I gave you 2-to-1 odds.
Okay.
Can you follow that?
Yep.
So they both have to score more than 15.
All right.
Mark Ingram had 10.3, Tim Hightower 1.9.
Wow.
So you weren't really that close on that one.
Great.
But you got odds. I mean,
yeah.
Or whatever. December 9th, moving on, when me and you met in the Blake Carrington semifinals of our Dynasty League. And we made a wager of who would win that matchup. I put up 134.3 that week. Not a terrible score, not a good score. You got 154.8. You, of course, moved on and won that one.
Sweet. I'm down 1 right now.
You are down 1. Okay, December 16th.
Very nervous.
More Week 15 fantasy points. I said Aaron Rodgers. You said Derek Carr. Remember, this is when the whole run the table thing. And I'm like, Aaron Rodgers, baby. And
they did end up.
Derek Carr that week, 15.1.
Oh, God.
Aaron Rodgers, 14.5.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was a frustrating loss for me.
Wow.
Very frustrating.
Rodgers must have had a date night or something.
I don't know what that was. Week 15, I'm trying to think who they played that week. I know they played Detroit Week 17. I can't remember who they played the last. I mean, I know they won. It must have been a ground. Oh, maybe that was the Kristen Michael game against the Bears where they rushed for like 3 touchdowns. That could have been it.
Nice job, Carr. Loser.
Same week.
We're tied right now.
December 16th.
How many more bets we have? Sorry.
There are 3 more.
3 more. This is it.
December 16th. Right. December 16th. More Week 15 fantasy points. I don't know, again, where we were at on this one. I said Brandon Cooks. You said Dontrell Inman.
What the hell?
Inman, who had 11.8 that week.
That's That's not too bad.
Cook said 37.6.
Jesus.
That was Brandon Cook's
I
week.
think I was pissed at Cooks, by the way. Okay, so let me give you that. I think I was pissed at Cooks for sucking for so many games.
But like being inconsistent and whatever, yeah. Okay, so
I did start him, though.
Right. So January 6th, will the playoff challenge sell out before the show ends? You remember this one? We were talking about. I said,
yeah, that's right.
It's not going to sell out. It did indeed. I said no. Dave said yes.
So we are tied. Okay.
We're tied, yeah.
So let me just set this.
Oh, hold on. Before I should have announced this. The last show of December that we did together, I said it would behoove you to make more wagers with me because, implying that you were behind, which you were.
Right.
So this one essentially tied it up, and then there's another one after this.
So after 5 seasons, now there's 4 seasons, 2 for me.
Right.
First 2 for you.
Right.
Next 2 for you.
Yes.
And after all these bets, this is our 5th season finale, and we are tied into this final bet. I have no idea what it is.
More playoff challenge points. Remember, we each put together a roster?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what mine was.
Okay. Well, we didn't have to.
I think I just took, the common dumb team.
Well, there's more than one common dumb team.
The most commonest, dumbest team.
Okay. Well, that's great for the listeners to know when we do this next year that you're just throwing together whatever.
Well, I tried.
Our teams were basically identical. Except for 2 players on each squad. I had the Devontae Freeman, Jimmy Graham side. You had the Doug Baldwin, Julio Jones side. Julio Jones, by the way, who you're always ripping on. Why did you put him on your team?
Yeah, well, strategy.
Well, whatever. I didn't even figure out what the total points for our team was. I just totaled up those 4 players' points.
Yeah,
okay.
Julio.
So Freeman and Graham, for me, 102 points.
Okay.
And for you, Baldwin and Jones, 130.2.
Yeah!
So you came out ahead on that. Woo-hoo. So why don't you go ahead and read how many totals. What do you got for totals there?
I thought it was 13 to 12.
13 to 12. Yeah. So if you add those together, 25. What did I say at the top?
I don't know.
How many bets did I say we made?
More?
26.
Oh, crap.
So now,
what the hell?
What happened indeed as we go back, as we go all the way back to May 27th.
How are you retracting?
Oh, I'm not retracting. This is legit. Marshawn Lynch announces his comeback to the NFL. Void if he never comes back. I said it would take place after August 17th, 2016. You said it would take place before August 17th, 2016. It is no longer void if he comes back. And we are currently after August 17th. It doesn't matter because it has to be after. We never said there was a cutoff.
Right.
So,
but he's not back at the end of the season yet.
We never said there was a cutoff that it had to be at the end of last season. So now, if he comes back, I win that,
and we tie,
and it becomes a tie.
So season 5 is still in limbo.
It's for the.
We should never make bets that could be in limbo.
Listen, what can you do? But congratulations to you.
So you give me the $5 and I'll give it back to you.
Is that how we're running this?
That's how a bet works.
See, I think that if you were in Vegas, they would not pay you up because it's still going on.
I'm so frustrated.
How about that Marshawn Lynch? This is so crazy how that worked out. Okay.
He's gonna renege on that.
I said that we would. I said that we would go over the 2017 wagers that we'd already made. As a preview, we already have 5, which is a record. We've never had this many heading into the next season, so I thought we'd go over that.
How do they go? I'm sorry. How do they go on to this next season when we made this season?
These were when we made these wagers. They were all going on to the next year because they couldn't. There's no way for us to decide it. Yeah. Okay.
Kind of like lunch vote.
No, not like that at all. Because that could have been resolved had he come back before then. It would have been resolved.
Which he did.
None of these could have been possibly resolved. No, it's not true. It's not the way it works.
Kind of like Alex.
I was just like, look, I'm like, oh, let's turn on the chat room, see what they're saying. And I see a WTF Balky. I'm like, oh, I guess somebody's on Dave's side. And then I see, oh, it's Dave Gerzak that said that.
I'm on my side.
So the wagers we've already made this year, June 2nd, 2016. And you can let me know how you're feeling about these.
Sure, I'll let you know.
This is the one you touched on earlier. The Giants draft a running back in the first 3 rounds. I said no. You said yes. You're convinced that.
I feel pretty good about it.
Feeling good about that.
Yeah, they're not talking about it, but I feel pretty good about it.
Speaking of Marshawn Lynch, October 7th, 2016. The Raiders draft a running back in the first 75 picks. I don't know how we decided on 75 picks.
Ouch.
I said no. You said yes. You can't be feeling great about that.
No, I don't feel so good anymore.
Yeah, okay. I feel terrible about
Lynch
this one.
Lynch is going to screw over a lot of my bets.
It's just 2. I'm not feeling great about this one. December 16th, 2016, Michael Floyd is on the Patriots roster, week 1 of 2017. I said yes. You said no.
Is he incarcerated? What is he doing right now?
I think he was on house arrest.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to be done before the season starts. So I don't know.
Yeah, the Patriots, you never know, but I don't think he will be.
I would be surprised.
Okay.
January 6, 2017. This is all about drafting running backs. It's the first 3 rounds of this NFL draft are so compelling for the show.
That was the point.
The Chicago Bears drafted a running back in rounds 1 to 3. I said no. You said yes. How do you feel about that?
Not so good. I think I underestimated Jordan Howard.
Yeah,
that's my fault.
And Langford's still there. I mean,
Langford sucks. I mean, that was.
I know, but he's still a guy that they're not going to cut. At least I don't think.
He's a former 7th round pick. What do they care?
Is he really going to the 7th round? I thought he was drafted higher than that.
Something like that.
All right, and then something else we touched on earlier at the top of the show. Again, January 6, 2017, the Bengals drafted a running back in rounds 1 to 3. I said no. You said yes. You got to be feeling good.
I actually do feel good.
I do not.
Given the reports, I'm surprised that I made that analysis, given how annoyed I was at the fact that, plus, I just figured that they'd be dumb and do it again. It's good.
To draft the running back in.
Yeah, keep drafting them.
Early, yeah.
Eventually one might pan out and might be there for 4 or 5 years.
You could make the argument that Bernard did pan out.
I agree. So why are they drafting another one?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, he's coming off the ACL. Maybe he's not going to be ready until October, November, something like that.
That's true. Maybe they should have just, if they had someone else that they could have kept, like...
Jeremy Hill, Rex Burkhead?
Name rhymes with sex and get head.
Good one. Okay, so that is the I Got 5 on it. We do have a couple of minutes, and at the end of the show, I think for the season finale, I always like to talk about what I learned this past season.
Oh, I thought you were going to thank our listeners, but why?
I will thank our listeners, but that's not till the very end.
Throw in at the end.
I always
4 seconds.
I always like to talk about things I learned, talking to all these high stakes players over the course of a year, running my own teams, drafting my own teams, managing the waiver wire and everything like that. Remember I said last year on this show, on the season finale, I said, It's all about wide receivers.
Obviously, I don't remember.
It is all. I was 0 RB to the hilt. I wasn't going to screw anything up this year by taking running backs early, and again,
you screwed it all up.
I screwed it all up. I mean, I did have some good teams, but by and large, I think that the thing I'm taking from how my teams turned out this year to 2017 is, and I already touched on this with you earlier shows, not necessarily about running backs, not necessarily about receivers or tight ends. It's guys who are just the focal points of their offense, guys that are going to touch the ball a ton. And I think that whether you're loading up on running backs or tight ends or receivers, as long as you're getting those guys who are heavily involved in their team's offensive game plan, their offensive scheme, I think it really doesn't matter. Positions, they're a little bit overrated. And that's what I've taken from speaking with all these players over the past 2 years. None of them have said, you got to load up on receivers, you got to load up on running backs, you got to load up on tight ends. And nobody's explicitly said this, but they've said, look, get the guys who are going to get the touches. Get the guys who are going to get the catches. Get the guys who are going to be on the field. For God's sake, Sammy Coates 2 snaps. Get those types of guys on your team, and more often than not, you're going to come out ahead. That is the philosophy I'm applying to my 2017 teams. Dave.
Not bad.
All right. Thanks.
No, man.
This is a year of listener advice from the best high stakes players in the world, and you're like, yeah, that's not a bad approach, I guess.
Well,
it's not Dizzle-ish, I know. But
I don't know if I have an approach. I mean, I guess I agree with you. Take playmakers.
Henry Muto, draft the players that score the most points.
Yeah, exactly. That's tough analysis, right?
Yeah.
They score touchdowns.
Rob and I have reached out to various players in the past to come on the show. And, not everybody wants to be on the show, and I get that. That's totally cool. Rich Dunn, I think, said it best when I asked him to come on because I wanted to talk DEs with him because he's been so successful with DEs. And he's like, I don't think I'd add much to your show if I came on. Just tell him to draft the best players. And that's, maybe that's the best takeaway we can take.
Draft the players that score the most points.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right, so once again, this is our Season 5 wrap-up show. We will be back right away next week. We don't take a break at all. We will come back.
I never take breaks.
With our season premiere next week. So that will be very cool. Regular time, 10/9 Central.
By the way, the whole production team works overtime this week. You know what they do? They try and find a song to bring it in, and then
we'll
they
have
try
new
and
music.
find another stupid song to leave the show with.
Well, and
then Thursday they play it for me, and I'm like, well, that sucks.
What?
And then that one's not very good either.
What song do you want to? What do you want to do?
But I'll
get me a list. I'll get them to Rob, and we'll see what we can do.
All right. Anyone want to tweet some songs to...
tweet them to @HSFF Hour. I know Tupacker will tweet some ones that he wants to hear for the intro or outro.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's some clown music, like from some circuses.
Thanks to Mike Anderson, Dave Gerzak, the FFPC, Rob Bryce, and of course, each and every one of you. We're so grateful that you hang out with us on Friday nights, or if you're listening on the Fantasy Sports Network, or downloading iTunes, wherever. Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun doing this show, and we're glad that you like listening to it.
See, that sounds good.
Yes. Season premiere next week. 750 number 18 champs Tino Reyes and Travis Collins in our season 6 premiere. We'll get to talk to those guys. Make your Planet Hollywood reservations now. Sign up for the main event and draft now with satellites and Dynasty drafts at myffpc.com. Plenty of action going on this weekend. We're getting closer and closer, people. It's going to sneak up on you. Scott Engel and the Fantasy Hall of Fame Hour is up next on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Your weekend starts now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com that was broadcast live and heard around the world. Eric and Dave will be back next week with more analysis, interviews, and advice from a guest much smarter than they are. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk with you again next week.
I gotta go cause I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight, and everything is...
I guess my problem is if you wanted to put a cap on it, like this had to run out at a certain time, you need to specify it. If there's no specification, I don't understand how I just lose that bet, especially if he comes back.
I'm not that smart to do all that stuff. I don't know how to do what you're saying.
Well, it's either a win or a tie for you, so it was a good season 5.
Whatever.